to enlighten minds and inspire hearts with your thoughts and insights. I now invite Dr. Agnes Kalibata, founder and chair of the C4 Impact Advisory Group from Rwanda, Africa, to kindly come forward and address the August gathering. Madam, please.
Your Excellency, Excellencies, distinguished leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm grateful to be part of this global conference on women in agri-food systems. Only a year ago, I headed AGRA, the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa. AGRA was modeled after India's success by the late Kofi Annan with the help of Dr. Swaminathan and other distinguished leaders. Their hope was that, like India, Africa too would flourish and feed itself. The reality is, unlike India, Africa is made of 55 countries, all pushing different policies, so success has not been as fast as we had hoped. Nonetheless, the Green Revolution in Africa is slowly taking root thanks to a number of institutions here in the room, the CGIR, and many others that have contributed to this success. This is what success looks like. A lady like Maria in Mozambique, who cultivates her half hectare every day with maize and groundnuts and depends completely on rain. When the rains fail, her harvest fails. When prices fall, her profits disappear. And yet she plants every season, just like my mother. She did that every season because her children, her family depended on it. But something changed. Maria met an agro dealer that had improved seeds from CIMIT. Maria had access to training, and Maria had access to markets that were designed through an agro program. Within 2 seasons, her yields doubled. Her children returned to school, and for the first time, she began saving. Maria did not change the climate. She did not change the soils, but something changed. She had access. She had opportunity. When women like Maria have access, food systems change. In 2021, I had the privilege of leading the Food Systems Summit as the UN Special Envoy. We had thousands of stories like Maria's story. I challenged the women's group that I put in place to do something about it. Because clearly, the one message we kept hearing from everyone was that the transformation of food systems would not happen unless it was anchored on women. So they put in place what we called, with the help of women leaders from IFPRI, they created the Women Empowerment in Food Systems Tracker. The Women Empowerment in Food Systems Tracker was very critical to ensure that commitments alone don't stay as commitments. The tracker monitors whether women are gaining access to land, finance, technology, markets, and leadership opportunities. The tracker ensures that we move from promises to accountability. It ensures that as countries move from food system strategies into action, the women are accounted for. But transformation cannot come from commitments alone, and we have to face the realities, the difficult realities that we live through. Our food systems must be sustainable too. That's another message that came from the Food Systems Summit. Since the 1960s, we are producing 3 times as much food as we produced in the 60s. And this has been one of humanity's greatest successes. And we know that here in India. But it has come at a great cost. We use 70% of the world's water. We are losing 80% of the biodiversity in the process. Food systems are contributing to greenhouse gases, in fact, 30%. At the same time, we are degrading our continent very fast because of food systems. So simply put, the model that fed us in the past cannot feed us tomorrow. We must produce food, and we must do so while restoring our planet. And here again, women are very critical to this. You see, women constitute 40% of people that are producing food out there. In Africa, in fact, women produce 80% of the food that we eat. Yet they still lack access to land, they still lack access to finance, and they still lack access to technologies. In fact, FAO says that if we close this gap by 20 to 30%, we would feed 150 million more people. This is not marginal improvement, this is transformation, and that's what we must aim for. When women participate in food systems, when women's lives change, when women's incomes change, they move from laborers to value chain leaders, and that's what we must aim for. So the future of food systems depends on three things: a productivity transformation, a sustainable transformation, sustainability transformation, and an economic transformation for rural communities that is anchored on women, especially rural women. So empowering women is not a matter of justice. It's an economic strategy. It is a resilience strategy, and it is a food system strategy, food security strategy. So as I conclude, I want to bring the story back home to India, in fact, to this conference. India is a country whose agricultural heritage has nourished civilizations for thousands of years. As we come to this conference today, let us commit to a future where the women who grow the food of the world are also empowered to shape the future of our food system. Because when women farmers grow, communities grow, nations grow, humanity grows with it. I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.